Good morning or afternoon, everyone. It's a huge honor to present our work entitled Large Simulation of Aerospace Haste to Supersonic Retropropulsion. My name is Abid Ghosh. I am an undergraduate student, and this study was conducted under the mentorship of Dr. Hamrutha Ji at the Computational Fluid Dynamics Laboratory of Vellore Institute of Technology, India. Let's start with some basic aspects of introducing landing techniques. The most crucial quantity that determines the trajectory of an entering body would follow is the ballistic coefficient, which is defined as the ratio of the mass of the vehicle to the product of the coefficient of drag and the reference area of it. Looking at the previous introduction landing or EDL missions, we can notice that the vehicles like the Mars Exploration Rover and the Curiosity both started falling from the same entry interface velocity, but Curiosity penetrated much deeper into the atmosphere because of its higher ballistic coefficient. However, human-sized spacecraft are supposed to have a ballistic coefficient ranging from 300 to 400 or maybe beyond 500 kg per meter square. So it is reasonable to anticipate that such vehicles will never reach the terminal velocity phase, and essentially they will remain in the decelerating stage and end up hitting the surface with a high and unsafe velocity. In brief, it would be disastrous. Now the interesting fact is that all the novel or breakthrough technologies like the skyscreen, the enormous parachute, the airbags, etc., all of them take place in a very narrow flight range from Mach 2 to Mach 1.5, highlighted in blue. So the major challenge is how we can reach this envelope at an early stage, that is the terminal velocity phase for a large ballistic coefficient or a heavy body. The answer is supersonic retropulsion. So what is supersonic retropulsion? Supersonic retropulsion (SRP) is essentially a technique of breaking airspace by firing rocket thrusters in the opposite direction of the vehicle's velocity vector. The usage of SRP in rockets is still novel, but it is a promising technology for slowing down through an atmosphere in a very efficient way, which has been shown by SpaceX in the recent years. While the SRP technology is making progress here on Earth with reusability and reduced cost at its main objectives, it is also a critical area of development for further exploration of the solar system. Aside from safe deployment of heavy payload, SRP ensures precision landing, excellent stability, superior control over the descent process. Figure 2b represents a typical SRP flow field with important flow features like the detached boson, stagnation point, magnetic, etc. We will discuss about them in great detail in the upcoming slides. The desirable features of using an aerospike for performing the SRP are: the aerospike nozzle has an overall better performance than a conventional or conical nozzle at wide range of flight conditions due to its inherent altitude compensation capability. A small aerospike nozzle can have the same performance as a large bell nozzle. Differential thrust vectoring can be implemented effectively to maneuver while the vehicle is in its supersonic stage. As major structural components of an aerospike nozzle share with the vehicle itself, the overall weight of the vehicle is reduced significantly. Figure 4 represents the design specification of the aerospike nozzle used in the present study. And for the numerical investigation, a symmetric geometry has been generated where the free stream is considered as a pressure fulfilled boundary condition with a supersonic flow of Mach 2 at a pressure of 2 psi. And the jet pressure is varied from 0 to 17,992.6. In order to perform an accurate and successful large simulation, we need to generate a mesh that can capture more than about 80% of the turbulent kinetic energy of the flow. To understand the mesh generation procedure implemented in the present study, we need to first understand the energy cascade process in the turbulent flow. So, in the energy cascade process, the small radius receive the kinetic energy from the slightly larger radius. This slightly larger radius receive the energy from even larger radius, and so on. And the larger radius represented as a whole by the integral length scale L0 extract their energy from the mean flow. Coming back to mesh generation procedure, first precursor steady state SST k omega RAS base, then the ratio of the integral length scale to the number of cells per integral length scale is calculated, which is represented as F. After that, the mesh is refined across the SRP flow field up to the boson formation location. Now, these steps are repeated until the mesh is refined enough such that the value of F is greater than 5. Finally, a less friendly mesh is obtained with 1.34 million cells with an average value of F 5.32, and in the refined zone or in close proximity to the aerospike and aerosol, it is greater than 11.62. As mentioned for the present study, large eddy simulation is employed to simulate the flow. Here is a quick overview of the compressible governing equations, which is obtained after applying density-based filtering option to the Navier-Stokes equations. Though wall adaptive local eddy viscosity or Wally lace is extensively used for wall bounded flow simulations, however, it was found to provide more accurate predictions for the SL flow field when compared to the classical Samorowski-Lilly or SL model. The deviation from the experimental results from the results obtained from Wally and SL-less models are reported in the table 1. The solver is configured with pressure-based coupled flow solver, and second-order schemes are adapted for spatial discretization and transient formulation. And duration of each time step is kept at 1 millisecond. All this ensured good stability of the CFD solver and accuracy of the results obtained. After successful execution of calculation, we visualize the vortex structures using a well-known vortex admixture method, the Q criterion. Also, a schematic of the SIV flow field formed by the aerospace nozzle is represented here. We can see the jet exiting from the nozzle undergoes expansion until the jet pressure equals the ambient pressure, thus forming a constant jet boundary. Moreover, the jet is reflected from the jet boundary in form of weak compression waves, collectively forming a barrel shock. Furthermore, the rapid expansion of the jet core reduces the axial pressure to a limiting value at which a normal shock wave occurs. This is referred to as a Magdix or terminating shock. At the intersection point of the barrel shock and Magdix, a reflector shock emanates, due to which this region is often called as triple point. Again, the flow passing through the Magdix is subsonic, and so is the region after the bow shock formed by the oncoming supersonic flow. These two subsonic flows interact to form a region with zero velocity, named as free stagnation point. Here, same Q-criterion based vortex visualization is shown here, but the pressure of the jet to the piston pressure is kept at a higher value of 8996.3. A plot of change in position of the most important features, the bow shock, stagnation point, and the Magdix are plotted against the defined pressure ratios. It should be noted no stagnation point was observed for pressure ratios less than 2000 since those four fluids weren't fully developed. In case of conventional convergent diverging nozzle, the flow structure at the low pressure ratios, so the cases of slightly under-expanded jet, the diamond structure of the jet penetrated the detached bow shock ahead of the aerosol surface. This unstable and undesirable occurrence is often referred to as long penetration mode or LPM. Remarkably, however, it was found that the SIV flow structure is generated by the aerospike nozzle is inoculated against LPM at any pressure ratio. The variation of coefficient of pressure CP distribution around the surface is represented in figure 15. It is apparent from the figure that in contrast to no jet and developing flow conditions at low pressure ratios, the aerodynamic forces are less prominent and variation of pressures are minimal in the cases of fully developed flow conditions. It was observed that the no jet condition and very low pressure ratios, only aerodynamic forces are dominant as depicted in figure 16. However, with increasing pressure ratios, say less than 700, both aerodynamic and propulsive forces are dominant, and for pressure ratios greater than 700, only propulsive forces are dominant and with no drag preservation due to the establishment of a fully developed reservoir flow structure and stabilization of it. So therefore, in the present study, large eddy simulation is successfully carried out to simulate the flow field of a supersonic propulsion performed by an aerospike nozzle. It was found SRP assisted by aerospike nozzle is inoculated against unstable and undesirable cases of long penetration mode, which is prevalent in the cases of convergent diverging retro nozzles. Also, with increasing pressure ratios, the distance between the aerosol and the detached bow shock increases gradually without any sort of undesirable occurrences. However, it is noticed that these high pressure ratios, only the propulsive forces are dominant with no drag preservation, and pressure distribution on the aerosol surface are almost similar for every cases of fully developed flow structure. Aside from the results, the paper delineates crucial information about the challenges of the current international landing missions, the rationale of developing supersonic propulsion technology, aerospike nozzle flow, and large eddy simulation methodology. Thank you so much for your time and listening, and I hope you enjoyed it.